Greensboro was seen as a must stop between DC and Atlanta.
It was a good town for partying and having fun.
Greensboro was on the chitlin circuit.
The cornerstone of the chitlin circuit here in North Carolina.
Backwood Club, out in parking lots, back of houses. That's what's called a chitlin circuit.
Greensboro was once a great big city. It was bigger than Charlotte or Raleigh or anything. The Coliseum was bringing the biggest acts, man. They were bringing everybody.
It was something about the atmosphere in Greensboro that groups did well here.
I think it was just the magic of Greensboro.
Taking me back 47 years or something. Market Street was a very narrow two-lane street.
There was a lot of activity on what we called the block, which was the strip of Market Street that ran in front of A&T.
Couldn't sit at the counter at Woolworths, so we'll just walk on down Market Street to one of the black restaurants, and then we'll go in there and get something to eat.
It was a black restaurant, Boss Webster. That was the block in the black community. We had our own black post office. We had our own black pharmacy, our own black theater, black funeral home, liquor houses. You could get drunk for 15 cents.
It was Kurt's Record and Gift Store.
Now, there used to be music up and down the street, man.
If there were some musicians that came to town, there were clubs that catered to that type of music there.
See, in the clubs, people danced in those days. I mean, everything was about dancing. It wasn't so much about drinking and all the stuff that goes on now. It was more about dancing and having a good time.
We had the call order.
It was a dance club, you could dance, and they had a stage, and was well known for having a lot of great musicians, blues, R&B, and even jazz.
We had the El Rocco.
Always told me, he said, we go to Greensboro, we're gonna go to the El Rocco Club and jam, It wasn't New York, but it was a good place to be heard. They played jazz in the El Rocco Club, and they played a little funk too. There was an organ player, a drummer. The drummer might have been Melvin Parker.
I was working with the group at a club called the El Rocco.
Who's that drummer? Hey, that's back! Give him a little bit! Hey, you know who that drummer is? Who is it? That's Melvin Parker.
We were all in college at A&T State University.
As I got on the phone that night, I called my dad. I said, Dad, James Brown is in the club, and he likes the way I play. Dad, may I drop out of school and play with James Brown? And he said, no, Melvin, you'd better stay in school.
That's when the things would happen.
Inez and Charlie Fox made Mockingbird.
We stayed on High Street.
They made a hit, and that was it. Went to the Paulo.
Right now, a gal, not only beautiful but talented, and her brother. I'm talking about Inez Fox and Charlie Fox.
I was real young, man. This is before I got into radio. They would run around there.
And I remember when they would come to town. Oh, man, it was like you think they were Frank Sinatra. Mockingbird.
I loved Greensboro. Everything that it represented. It was alive. There were so many opportunities. There were a lot of opportunities for African Americans at that time. There was a future here.
Where I came from was them old backwoods, little juke joint, liquor houses and stuff. But when I got here, the club scene was going on. I I'm riding around with a bunch of guys in the car, about 7 of us, looking for some women. Stupid, you know, 'cause what woman is gonna jump in the car with 7 dudes, you know, unless she just ain't no good. So the guys we riding around wasn't having no luck. They said, hey man, let's go in the El Rocco Club. And Jerry Butler was appearing there that night. And it was a band called the Swingin' Five. Man, when they got ready to take a break, women, the club was jam-packed and women was all over them guys. I turned around to my guys, I said, don't y'all ever come back to pick me up no more. This is where I'm gonna get into music. This is what I'm gonna do. And then I ain't gonna have no problem about no women, which was a big mistake. I should have kept on trucking.
About the 7th or 8th grade, I realized that girls like musicians. I was trying to start a little band on my own, and I was 12 years old then. So I had to learn to play the bass guitar to teach the guy who was about 19 that was in the band how to play. So I could read music and all that stuff. So I could learn to play an instrument in a couple of 3 days. He went for the checkup and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they snatched him up and sent him into the military. I really wasn't that good. I had only been playing bass for maybe 3 weeks. And they came and got me and said, we got to go play a gig because he got drafted. And I said, man, I don't know the songs. We ain't practiced. And they said, come on, just do what you can do. I know I sucked. And but I was able to hold it together enough, you know, because I was a keyboard player.
The biggest inspiration was when I was about 16 years old. Wasn't supposed to be there.
I can't wait.
But my sister took me to see Jackie Wilson. That's it. That was it. That's what I'm going to do. He walked on the stage in a red suit with a red shirt and tie, red shoes, red shirt. I'm telling you, everything. The light was on him. He looked red, and he was killing it. And people were screaming, and he was. I said, I got to do that. That's where it been. I started bands. Like I said, I was about 15 years old, and I've always been the front man. The radio station played a great part. And I put the first little recording I tried to do, I put out. They played it for me. WEAL, the big wheel. That was the big wheel. Big Jim, Alfred G on the gospel side. Slick Slack.
We used to have all kind of little sock hops in the gym, especially on rainy days at Dudley. But we used to do little talent shows. I found a niche for it. And we would also have those talent shows in the classrooms, but we got in a lot of trouble. Every time the teacher would go out into the hall, people like Jay Bird. We would start up in the classes, and we would just have shows. We'd just go crazy. That's how basically we began to feel that we were in that entertainment niche. One of the announcers from WEAL, named Big Jim Taylor, worked at the Y part-time and used to live at the Hayes Taylor YMCA. He used to be in there all day, every day when school was out. He went over and asked my mother one day, he says, is it okay if I take Wayman to the radio station with me on Saturday mornings? And I go, man, I'm not going out to no radio station. You know, what do I care about a radio station? So we started going on Saturday, and I used to go in there and sit down and watch him do his show. One day we were sitting in the studio, he was doing his Saturday morning house party, Big Jim house party. And he took a sheet of paper and handed it to me. He said, I want you to read this on the microphone. I'm gonna go, okay, read this. I'm still not in the groove, don't know what's happening. 15 minutes later, the owner came in the studios, and he said, who was that read that commercial a few minutes ago? And Big Jim said, that was him. He said, you should be in radio. He said, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. He said, I'm gonna give you from 5 minutes after 10 to 10:30 to do your show. And I would get it at 5 after 10, buddy. And I had a dedication list from everybody over at the school. And I would come down there with those 25 minutes and we would just have a ball on the air. Thus, my introduction to radio.
My neighborhood was Bank Street. It's down by the Memorial Stadium. back in the days, number the woods all down through there. And we stayed on the end, 500 block. And Arthur Priceoff, uncle stayed next door to me.
Mr. Arthur Priceoff. Arthur, welcome back.
Close your eyes, rest your head on my shoulder and sleep.
And back in the days, he would come home and he had a pink Lincoln convertible and would take me to school. My adopted mother was a school teacher. She sent me through music, dance school first. Tap dance, wanted to be Sammy Davis Jr. But I always wanted to be a drummer. And I said, let me get my shit together. And I said, Mom, I said, I want some drums. She said, go down to Harvard West and get you, I got 2 sets of drums. And in about a month's time, I was playing on the stage.
I'm watching the guy that was backing Jerry Butler and his band. And this cat, he's up there, man, he's playing all of this stuff. And I said, man, I got to learn how to do that. That's what I want to do, you know. So about 3 or 4 days later, I went back to the club and talked to the club owner. And I asked him, did he know the guy, the band that was playing there and that guy that was playing guitar? He's done been up playing all night and everything, but you know, I ain't got sense enough to understand that. So I go and knock on the doors, mother, somebody would come to the door and I'd ask her, is Victor Hudson here?
I've been knowing Vic ever since I was, knee high to the duck's ass. And Vic had a little house and he had a piano. And I always go in and taught me how to play a guitar. And my brother had a guitar. What you do with my guitar? Pawn it.
He was a well-known, well thought of, respected musician, not just in this area, but, you know, like I said, these guys, man, they intertwine, you know, throughout different states, you know, different projects.
And this cat, he's up there, man, he's playing all of this stuff.
His eyes was closed and his head was moving to the beat, and everybody just got caught up into that.
Vic was a great guy, great musician, great businessman.
Back then, we went to school. Vic used to be sitting on the porch playing the guitar, and I would go and sit on the porch and listen to him. He said, now, this is the way you do this. This is the way you do that. You know, little Charles, Vic taught him how to play bass. That was funny. Because he used to lean over it in a funny way and play. And when he finally got halfway good and got hired by Sam and Dave, we went to that Coliseum. And little Charles up there, I said, oh God, there's Charles. Ooh, he was wearing it out, my man.
Victor's house was just like an open rehearsal room, you know. As soon as he would come home, you know, people were coming in, let's play. They would come in with their instruments, let's hook up here.
His name was common among all the artists. Where's Vic Hudson? Where's Vic? Where's Vic?
Even if they had a guitar player, they said, Vic, can you come play on this set tonight at the Coliseum? Can you come do this tonight? That's why he was so good.
Vic Hudson and those guys played for everybody that came through. That's how different groups were formed, like LTD and Onion and those guys were hanging out with Vic.
If you sought advice for him, what you were going to get from him was the truth, good, bad, or ugly.
I was trying to play solo, a lot of solo stuff, what I wanted to do. And so he said, what do you want to do? You want to make money, or do you want to be a soloist? I said, I want to make money. I want this to be my living. He said, then forget about soloing and learn the chords and the rhythms. And he taught me a rhythm that ain't but 2 people play that I've ever heard play it, and that's me and him. You know.